Welcome everyone. A webcast of this meeting will be published to Council's website at www.liverpoolplains.newsouthwales.gov.au so that it is available for viewing by members of the public. Acknowledgement of country and council prayer. Councillor Wood.
Today we gather on the land of the Kamilaroi Nation. We therefore need to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of this land. We also pay our respects to the Aboriginal elders, both past and present, and further extend that respect to other adults who have joined us today. Lord, we ask that you watch over this council, guide us in our deliberations and decisions for the betterment of all the people of our Shire and Australia.
Amen.
Thanks, Councillor Wynne. Apologies and applications for leave of absence by councillors, nil. Confirmation of minutes, apologies, no, nil apologies. Confirmation of minutes, 3.1, recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 26th of July 2023 be received and the recommendations therein be adopted. Is there a mover? Councillor Allen, seconder. Councillor Cohen, did you wish to speak with Councillor Allen?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 4, disclosures of interest. Nil disclosures of interest. Item 5, mayoral minute. 5.1, mayoral minute for June 2023. The recommendation that council receive and note the mayoral minute for June 2023, and I would therefore move that be accepted. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Miles? I've got nothing more to add to that. Did you want to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
Could I just, ask a question, please, Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yeah, go.
Sorry, your mic. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I did get some responses to the questions I submitted, and I thank Ms. Pearson for that. I'm just wondering about this McVitier's timber. I know you said he explained why he closed. I think I was probably more interested in what we're going to do with the site, or what he's going to do with the site. Was there anything discussed or not? Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
In a nutshell, it's private ground. It's his decision and his board's decision, and their decision at the moment is to sell. That's all I know.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No one else wish to comment on? Item 6, inward correspondence, nil. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7. Item 7. Reports to Council. Executive Services Report. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Executive Services Report for July 2023. Is there a mover? Councillor Allen. Seconder? Councillor Miles, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Allen?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.2, Resolution Register Update. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Resolution Register as at the 15th of August 2023, appended at Annexure A, and the Resolution Register for 2022 as appeared at Annexure B. Shall we move on? Councillor Cudmore, seconder. Councillor Wynne, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
No, thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.3, Corporate and Community Services Directorate Report for July 2023. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Corporate and Community Services Directorate briefing for July 2023 as detailed in this report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cohen, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cohen?
No, it's me.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cudmore?
Just a comment, have we got plans for the Royal Theatre once this projector is serviced or fixed after 6 months?
GM?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. There is a booking for a group who's looking to use the projector and the theatre. Beyond that, we don't have any further bookings. We are about to start the process of a service review, which will work out what the council wants to do with the theatre in the longer term.
I thought we'd done a service review of the theatre, no? Oh, thank you.
Councillor Cudmore?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
If no one else wishes to speak for or against the motion, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.4, public exhibition of draft code of meeting practice. Recommendation that Council 1 place the draft code of meeting practice appended at NHRA on public exhibition for a period of 28 days and adopt the updated code as exhibited, subject to no submissions being received. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak with Councillor Lawson?
No, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.5, local advisory groups. Recommendation that Council A receive and note the minutes of the Prima Local Advisory Group as appended at NHRA. B, receive and note the minutes of Currabubula Local Advisory Group as appended at NHB. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
Just to say that it's really good to see that there's these groups. It looks like Prima's planning a 100-year celebration, which is great to see. And there's a lot happening in Currabubula as well. So it's good to see that these groups are really active in organising events for the community.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.6, Statement of Investments for July 2023. The recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the Statement of Investments as at the 31st of July 2023 as appended at NHRA. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak with Councillor Lawson?
No, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.7, Delivery Program 22-26, Full Year Progress Report as at the 30th of June 2023. The recommendation that Council receive and note the Delivery Program 22-26, Full Year Progress Report as at the 30th of June 2023 as appended at NHRA. Do I have a mover? Councillor Miles, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Miles?
Just briefly, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to acknowledge and thank the staff for a very well presented, comprehensive and informative delivery program full yearly report. It was encouraging to be able to see how much they have achieved to date. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Miles. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.8, Infrastructure and Environmental Services Directorate Report for August 2023. Recommendation that Council 1 receive and note the Infrastructure and Environmental Services Directorate Report for the month of August 2023. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cudmore, I second that. Councillor Cullen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
Yes, please, Mr Mayor. Just a few things. The Werris Creek Industrial Precinct, can someone explain what the ecological endangered community plans is, please? And what the ramifications of that. I can see that there's an assessment being done the other day. The infield clubhouse, I thought this project is funded by council. I thought it was part of the grant for the showground that was built into the 4 million dollars, and I thought there was a figure that was put out for the clubhouse. The Players Fitness Centre, now worked that out through, and then, there was something else. The Seal of the Roads program, this is probably for Mr Skelly. It's just, these are to be done. The 23-24 works program has been completed for the following funding sources. So it's the Coonabarabran rehab and heavy patching. So that's all stuff that's going to be done this year. That's block, is that mean block grants? Is that part of, and SRB council is
Council funded.
council funded. Yep. So that's the plan of what we're going to do this financial year.
That's correct.
And the same as the bundle of the unsealed roads, that's all. Is there any chance we could have a map of all the roads so we can actually get a grip of, so I can't really actually follow the bundle of Maryland Road, and I live there. It's just so I can actually say, this is the sections we're doing, this is the sections we've done. Just a bit of a broad overview. I can't really follow just by having it written down. If that'd be all right, please. Just so I get a better understanding of actually what we're trying to achieve. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Through you, Mr Mayor. So regarding the Werris Creek Industrial Precinct, there was a community of plains grass identified there, which is an ecologically endangered community. There are options that we are currently looking at, which there was site inspection done in the last 2 weeks for that to see if there's more within the vicinity, which would actually help us, not hinder us. So that's where the work's up to at the moment. If there isn't more in the vicinity, then we may have to look to purchase an environmental offset for those works. Regarding the infield clubhouse, within the scope of that $2.6 million grant for showground, it was identified in there as a potential option for that. As we went through the project, we didn't have the funding to complete it all, so there may be some of that grant funding that's gone towards it, but the balance of it has been funded by council. And with regards to your map, I don't have one done,
No.
but I can arrange to get one done up.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Before I call for the vote, I just need to remind councillors that all those questions need to be directed to the chair, not direct to the director. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cullen.
Mr Mayor, I just wanted a couple of questions in relation to Plains Fitness Centre and the expenditure of the grant to upgrade the Plains Fitness Centre. I always thought that there was a program or part of that fitness upgrade was to include a 24-hour opening keyed system. I know that there have been some notes passed around by staff and councillors over the last few days to come say that is the intention and that there is a cost involved. I just wonder whether the grant funds, we still have grant funds to meet that cost. And the other question is in relation to the changing places showground pavilion, the additional works that were required there. I do expect that the grant that was originally used to build that building would not have had funds available for this maintenance, and I'm just wondering if the council are now going to have to meet the cost of those changes that were instigated there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
General Manager?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, regarding the Plains Fitness Centre, yes, the intention is still to do the 24-hour access, so we've been looking at potential options for that. It is still within the grant funded budget, so it's not, the full grant funding hasn't been expended, it's still within that budget. Regarding the access for the showground, we're talking about some concrete works and widening was the primary works that were done there to get that compliance. That will be done within council's operational budget for the showground.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.9, Corinda Aquatic Centre, Community Consultation Outcomes. Recommendation that Council 1 note the outcomes within the Corinda Aquatic Centre Community Consultation Report as appended at Annexure A. 2, develop concept plans incorporating A, a wading pool, B, positioning of the splash pad in the northwestern corner of the site, C, removal of the dry play area. 3, accept the project prioritisation contained within this report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a seconder. Councillor Cohen. Did you wish to speak for Councillor Lawson?
Just to say that I think that the community consultation, particularly with key stakeholder groups, was successful. There were comments that came back to council, one of which was a major one that was the same, I'm told, throughout a lot of those consultations, was that they wanted a wading pool, and that has been incorporated into some concepts that we're looking at now in line with this motion. So I think that's been a very good outcome. The council has listened to the community and what they want to see, and move forward with a wonderful project that will benefit the community for a long time.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak on the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Oh, sorry.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as councillors are aware, and you'll see on your desk, Mr. Skelly has circulated 3 concepts that have been developed by our consultants following the community consultation. And I'd like to echo what Councillor Lawson said. I think this is consultation truly working, where the community have expressed their views and council has taken those views on. So I think that's a really good outcome. In the interest of expediency, could I implore councillors to perhaps consider a preferred option? I know there's been some correspondence going backwards and forwards about option 4 and some changes to the wading pool. And the reason I say that is that if we were to then bring the concepts back to the September meeting, we're losing another month. So if it is possible that councillors feel comfortable with adopting a particular concept subject to changes that have been discussed, that will certainly give Mr. Skelly some guidance and save some time moving forward. So Councillor Lawson, maybe as part of your motion, you might want to add something to that.
Yeah, if I can incorporate in that I think most of us were quite happy with concept number 4. Maybe with a couple of minor changes, just as to the orientation of the wading pool, that perhaps the entry to that faces the splash pad and he's moved a little bit westward. But I'm personally very happy with concept number 4, make those minor changes. Anyone would like to second that?
Seconded, Councillor Cohen. We're going to vote on that now?
If councillors happy with it, yes, Mr.
Do we have to move the motion, or is that part of the motion?
That's what I just,
Yeah,
the amendment to the.
Yeah, that's part of the motion, so that's what I'll ask for the vote on.
Does it need to be seconded? Because
It was seconded by
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
so it was moved by Councillor Lawson, seconded by Councillor
Thank you, Mr.
Cohen. I'll put the motion. Those in favour of those amendments with option 4. I'll declare that carried. Item 7.10, RFT 078-2023, construction of 7 Milner Parade Clubhouse. The recommendation that council, 1, approve the demolition of Milner Parade Clubhouse located at 7 Milner Parade. 2, award the contract for tender 078-2023, 7 Milner Parade Clubhouse to Oswald Construction Proprietary Limited for the sum of $450,828, inclusive of GST. 3, allocate up to $177,000 from 7.12 contribution fund across the Milner Parade project budget to complete the works as listed within the report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Moles, a seconder. Councillor Allen. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Moles?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to say this has been going on for some time and we've had a fair bit of discussion on it and there's been a lot of good feedback come back. This is a very good report, very comprehensive, and I think it's now time to knuckle down and get it built. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Miles. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Lawson.
Just in line with what Councillor Moles was saying there, we do need to move forward with this project. Originally, the grant funding was to cover the cost of renovating the existing clubhouse. Unfortunately, after the initial asbestos removal and inspection of the building, the amount of works required exceeded the cost of a new building. It's unfortunate that that cost of a new building now still exceeds the original grant funding. However, if we don't move forward with this project, the costs are only going to increase again. And it is within our 7.12 program to fund works that are in line with our recreation strategy, I think it is. So I think this is something that we need to move forward with, and we'll see a new building there that will last a long time as opposed to, like I said, the renovation is going to cost more than a new building anyway. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cohen.
Sorry, Mr Mayor. I'm sorry, but I'm at odds with this particular motion and this particular project. I really do think that this is a building that's going to be constructed that will have no complete purpose to our community other than, I think it's a building too big for the process that we're going to be using it for. Could have been met better by a smaller building that met just the tennis situation where we could have had a building designed to be basically a function office with maybe a minor kitchen area for afternoon teas and cups of coffee and things, and of course public toilets. Yeah, I'm just at odds with it, and I'm not in favour. I can see that our allocated was within our, within the original program. We've committed to basically doing it in our program, but yeah, I honestly am my vote will be against Smith.
Thanks, Councillor Cohen. Anyone else wishing to speak for? Councillor Wynne.
Well, Mr Mayor, I agree with Councillor Cohen. I don't think the building will be used for anything else other than the immediate people who are using the tennis court, whatever. There's enough function centres around town to have functions in, and I think we just need the basic minimum there for the people who are going to be there for that particular time in the sporting events.
Thanks, Councillor Wynne. Councillor Lawson.
I just wanted to ask a question as to the ramifications as if we don't go forward with this project, what the options would be. I do understand what the other councillors speaking against have just said, and I do agree with that to some extent. I'm just concerned about if we don't move forward with something at this point, where that leaves us in terms of the grant funding. Will we just eat up more funds redesigning or will we make a significant cost saving if we look at the size of the building again, enough to warrant going back to the drawing board as such?
General Manager?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, so if we were to redesign, yes, there would be additional costs involved. They're probably not substantial. If you did design a smaller building, it would likely result in a reduction of cost for this facility. Regarding the exact process and how it worked from a code of meeting practice point of view, if it was refused, it's 3 months, isn't it, which can't be reconsidered 3 months, is that correct? Yeah. So if this tender was rejected, then the demolition, etc., couldn't be reconsidered by council for at least another 3 months.
Councillor Cotmore?
Yeah, I sort of agree with everybody at the moment, but I think the size of the building is what the tennis club and everyone wanted for. So that was the quote that council gave the staff, the direction, that's what they wanted. The cost of buildings is ridiculous for what you get nowadays, but that's the cost of it. It's probably, a little bit large for exactly what we need, but who knows what tennis is going to do in the future. So if you're going to spend $450 or $400 or something like that, we've got the money available, not necessarily, but if we can transfer some money from lighting over or whatever else happens, or it comes out of 7.12 contributions, I just think we need to just move forward. Otherwise, we're just going to go around and around and around. And the money's available, the grant says it's going to build.
Councillor Cullen, did you want to?
Mr Mayor, a point of order, please.
Yeah.
Mr Mayor, we have a code of meeting practice, and the code of meeting practice says that the mover can speak to the motion and has the right of reply. All other councillors can speak to the motion once, for or against. It just appears to me that at the moment we're debating with other councillors, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Thank you, Mr Mayor. And I still have the right.
Councillor Miles, I'll remind you that we are debating the motion, and I've allowed the speakers for and against the motion to speak, and that's the way it'll continue. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion before I put the motion?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I have the right of reply.
Go for it, Councillor Miles.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So you made your decision, that's fine, but I'm still entitled to a right of reply. I listened to the councillors and I understand where they're coming from. However, this was part of a recreational strategy. It's a broader strategy. It's not just about the Milner Parade. And the other things the councillors have been brought up, I've all had feedback on it. Now, Mr Mayor, I'd ask you to please be a little bit more respectful. It's almost like you're disinterested. And I'm entitled to speak. And I'm entitled to have your attention and respect, so please. So this was part of a recreational strategy. So we've already done the basketball courts across the road. We took this clubhouse on. We didn't really want to take it on, but we did. And we went through a lot of processes to find out that we couldn't repair it, we had to demolish it. All councillors had feedback into this, and as I stated in my opening speech, I believe we need to get on with it, or it's just going to go on and on and on, and we'll never agree. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thanks, Councillor Miles. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? I'll declare that carried. Item 7.11. RFT 071-2023 Longfield Oval Lighting Upgrade. The recommendation that 1. Council award the contract for tender 071/2023 Longfield Lighting Upgrade to SMADA Electrical Proprietary Limited for the sum of $519,590.50, including GST. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cohen, a seconder. Councillor Allen, did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cohen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just to say that I think this has been a very good process. I think that the council staff approached it in a very, very genuine and honest way, and have come up with a good result. Hopefully that will satisfy the users of our Longfield precinct, and it is another step forward in our long-term recreational strategy. And I just think that it is a very good result for what we've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cohen. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cudmore.
This recommendation, does that involve the tweaks we were going to do over number 1 and number 2? Is that, or this is just the straight lighting, and then if we want to tweak it, that comes later on?
General Manager.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, Councillor Cudmore, this is just about the technical for now. The items that we discussed in the workshop, I've got every confidence Mr. Skelly has taken that on board and see what he can do, but for now we just need to get the tech on board.
Thank you.
Councillor Cudmore.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.12, RFT 083-2023, water main replacement, Henry Street Rail Crossing, Corindai. The recommendation that Council award the contract for tender 083-2023 water main replacement, Henry Street Rail Crossing, Corindai, Finn Valley Plant and Civil Proprietary Limited for the value of $414,255 inclusive of GST. Do I have a mover? Councillor Cudmore. Seconder? Councillor Cohen. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Cudmore?
No, it's Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for Councillor Cohen?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just want to know where the water main's been relocated to, and how they've been, where we conveying the water, and moving from there.
General Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the water mains have been relocated actually deeper, so it will follow much the same alignment. It just needs to be a bit deeper to protect it from the impact of the rail.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.13, Corindai Golf Club, request for reduction in water supply fees. The recommendation that Council, 1, decline the request to reduce water usage charges for 10 years at the Corindai Golf Course to 2020-21 usage rate of 60 cents per kilolitre. 2, Council requests the Corindai RSL Golf Club to provide the following information. A, profit and loss statements for the previous 3 years. B, membership numbers and pricing, fees and charges for the previous 3 years. And C, details of financial administrative relationship with Corindai RSL. 3, council staff work with the golf club to assist in transitioning away from potable water. 4, a further report to be provided to council as necessary. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson.
Mayor, I'd like to move the motion with an additional 0.5 that I've emailed to councillors. That 0.5 is that the water access charge for the Corindai RSL Golf Club be reduced from $12,800 being a 100 millimetre access charge to a cost of $2,050, which is the 40 millimetre access charge for the 2023-24 financial year, while the Corindai RSL sub-branch progresses their transition to a 40 millimetre connection. If I could have a seconder for that.
Seconded, Councillor Cullen. We'll now debate.
Can I speak to
The original motion hasn't been.
Yeah, that counteracts the original motion. We now debate that motion that you just put forward.
Yes, so if I could just speak to that.
Yes.
We had a speaker on behalf of the Corindai Golf Club here today to speak to us regarding their letter. I understand that we can't really discount our per kilolitre rate for water. There is a charge involved in providing that water, and it is potable water, which is not ideal for irrigation purposes, but it's what has always happened historically. The golf club is a public open area for members as well as members of the public who might want to go there and access it for recreation. So I think it's a very important grounds that we continue to have there on Crown land. This will enable them to move to perhaps putting down their own bores so that they can more economically irrigate the greens in the future, or they can go back to a 40mm pipe and have their own tanks and pumping. But the reason that I think this reduction is reasonable is because it doesn't actually cost, from what I can tell, council more money to provide the water in the form of a 100mm connection, or at least not by a significant amount, whereas the price per kilometre would still remain in line with every other water user. Thank you.
Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Allen.
The amended motion makes no sense. The speaker who spoke regarding the upgrade said it will take more than a year. So for the council to allow this to happen in the coming year and allow them the difference in between 12,000 to 2,000, it makes no sense. And he said in his own speech that they have not got this up and running, and this was an oversight, even if it was by the council, that they didn't receive any notice. So to allow this to happen for another year and give them a $10,000 rebate for them to investigate, and come next year when this happens again and they don't have this already up and running, are you then again next year going to give another rebate to them for another 10,000 or whatever usage? I know you're going to go back, you're saying possibly go back from the 100 mil to the 40 mil, but he hasn't guaranteed that they're going to do this. And it's still going to come at a cost to the RSL stub branch. And he hasn't outlined anywhere in his proposal where and how he's going to do this. He then has to go back to the RSL branch, sub branch, what's the name to get this voted on? As a board, they can put this up, but it still has to go and be approved by the members of the RSL sub branch. So for the council to do this, it is, you're setting a precedent to every single organisation in this Liverpool Plains Shire Council. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Rowland. If I may, I would just like to add to that, this resolution could only remain for 12 months. Next year that would have to be debated again. So whatever resolution the council came to would be last for 12 months. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Cumming.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, Councillor Allen, I take your points. That's very obvious. And yes, we are maybe providing a precedence for other people to make applications, and all their applications will be considered on merit within the council as an individual application. We're not just granting a free to let it go. We will have to make a decision on any other applications that may come forward. And I just think that the motion that's been put forward puts a bit of onus back on the RSL Club. Let's see if they are prepared to try and take up the challenge, get out there and start to spend some money and show us that they really are keen to move off the potable water. And I with the Mayor's note there, I agree that it is only a 12-month thing. It will be debated again. And I think that if council is of the mind, they can see if the RSL Club have taken on the challenge. And if they haven't, then I certainly would be reconsidered at the next time this came to council.
Councillor Cowan. Councillor Miles, did you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to speak against the motion. This goes back to Robert Hunt's days. It's not a 12-month thing, it's not a 4-year thing. I was on council with Robert Hunt and the mayor at the time, and this goes back to those days. So this has not happened overnight. I was here when the RSL board took on the golf club, so I'm well aware of the history. And whether it's 12 months, if it's 12 months, you've got a new council, and then it comes back to them, and then it might be another 4 years. I think if they were going to do anything about it, they would have done it by now. The infrastructure is there, they have made access to it and used it, and the user needs to pay. That was how we set their water rates. So I'm totally against the current motion, and I'm hoping we'll be able to go back to the original recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? Councillor Allen? Eh?
Just to clarify again, the original motion was, there was nothing wrong with it, it still allowed this to happen. The amended motion didn't need to happen. Because we were asking, the general managers asked for profit and loss statements and statements to prove that they can financially do this. So allowing that to happen would have been a natural motion. Thank you.
Councillor Lawson?
If there's no further speakers, I'll just have the right to reply. I take your point of concern over precedent. However, I don't think that there's many users in the Shire that have this 100mm connection, and I don't think, although it allows the pressure to be used to irrigate the golf course, it doesn't affect the amount of water that they're using. I believe it's still a public asset, even though it's managed by the golf course. It's one that council doesn't have to pay for. So I think that they are doing us some service in that regard. The reason that I put it as for the next financial year, the current financial year that we're in, while they progress to a 40mm connection. Now I understand that sourcing water through a bore, an irrigation bore, may take longer than 12 months. That's why I've said while they progress to a 40mm connection, because regardless of whether they put a bore down or not, they are still going to require tanks and a pressure pump to charge the system. That's a feasible thing to do within 12 months. And then we could simply change them to a 40mm connection. So I guess all I'm asking for here is to go back to that charge that they did. It only became, I guess, a real issue once that access charge changed from the 40mm to the 100mm. And as I said before, I don't think that it's actually costing council money to provide that connection to a significant degree. So that's why I thought we could, we're meeting them, we're trying to help a group stay afloat as such and keep the golf course going while they become self-sufficient with the water.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson. I think we've had enough debate. I would ask for a vote on the amended motion. Those in favour? Those against? I declare that carried. Item 7.14, town water supply status. Recommendation that council receive and note the water supply status report. Do I have a mover? Councillor Allen, seconded Councillor Cudmore. Did you wish to speak to it, Councillor Allen?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 7.15, Queepoly Water Project Construction Progress Report. The recommendation that Council 1 receive and note this month's progress of the Queepoly Water Project's design and construction phase. Do I have a mover? Councillor Lawson, a seconder. Councillor Cudmore. Do you wish to speak to it, Councillor Lawson?
There's a massive amount of infrastructure works going on there, and it's really interesting for people to see, maybe some of the photos that are in the monthly report. I don't know if we can, I guess this is a question, if we can maybe get some of those out on social media or other means. So, unless that's already happened and I've not seen that, sorry. Yes, I just think it's a massive project for a small trial like ours to have come into fruition, so good to show that to the community.
Thanks, Councillor Lawson. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against the motion? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Carried. Item 8, delegates' reports, nil. Item 9, notices of motion, questions with notice, nil. Item 10, confidential matters. The recommendation that Council considers the confidential report, bracketed S, listed below in a meeting closed to the public in accordance with section 10A, bracketed 2 of the Local Government Act 1993. 10.1, tender number 125999872, proposed Willow Tree landfill construction. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A, bracketed 2, bracketed D, bracketed I of the Local Government Act, and the Council is satisfied that discussion on this matter in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with commercial information of a balance to be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it. 10.2, Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee Independent External Member. This matter is considered to be confidential under section 10A, bracketed 2, bracketed A of the Local Government Act, and the Council is satisfied that discussion on this matter in an open meeting would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest, as it deals with personal matters concerning particular individuals other than councillors. I have a mover. Councillor Lawson, seconder. Those in favour? Those against? Carried.
I think you was just late.
So?
You weren't against moving. We're still recording.
Oh, okay.
councillors. Recommendation from the confidential report, item 10.1, tender number 125999872, proposed Willow Tree landfill construction. This was resolved 7-4, nil against, being 7 councillors present. Item 10.2, Audit Risk and Improvement Committee independent external member. This was also approved 7-4, nil against, unanimous, being 7 councillors present. There being no further business, the meeting closed at 3:35.